So today we're going to be doing dumbbell only training. So the only thing you're going to need today for our workout is a set of dumbbells. And we're going to be focusing on both upper body and lower body exercises today. So if that sounds good to you, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this, and it helps support the channel, so thank you for doing that. So today I was thinking about a press exercise, and usually those are done on a bench, but I have one for you that I think will work well if you don't have a bench. So the only thing we're going to need today is a set of dumbbells. So I'm going to start with a light set of dumbbells for a warm-up. If you don't have a second set of dumbbells, if you just have one weight, just start with a few less reps just to get some blood flow into the joint. So first thing we're going to do is a press you can do laying on your back. So this works the chest muscles and the triceps, just like a bench press would. It's a little bit different of a movement though. So what we're going to do, you're going to lay on your back with your knees bent. Just like a bench press, you're going to start with your hands over the top of your shoulders. So I'm pushing my chest out. Now, but here's the difference. Instead of bending down where my elbows are out to the sides, because normally my elbows stop at the floor, I can't go down to a full bench where I'm losing all that range. What we're going to do instead is you're going to keep your elbows tucked in and bend the dumbbells towards your neck as you go down. So I'm still trying to push my chest out and open, but I'm putting a little bit more on that elbow joint to really open up the chest. You should feel that across your chest as you pull out, sort of to your throat level with the dumbbells instead of down here by your chest. So I'm really putting that extra tension on the chest, even still with no bench. So doing about 10 reps of these just to get some blood flow into the joint. Now I'm not letting my elbows come way down to my waist. I'm trying to keep them up elevated just a little bit. It's sort of a hybrid between a skull crusher and a bench press. So that's going to be our first exercise, doing the chest and the tricep. Now we'll move to a heavier dumbbell with that in just a second. But I'm going to show you our second exercise first. So the next thing we're going to do is a bent over row. Again, we're starting with a light dumbbell just to get the muscles ready to work for our real set in just a second. So for a bent over row, you're going to hinge from your hips. I don't want you to round your back at all. You're just going to lean forward from the hips, letting your arms hang down. Now we've done this variation before with the thumbs pointed in. This time though, your thumbs are going to be pointed up. This is a more classic bent over row, doing more of that lat, that big muscle along your rib cage that goes all the way from your shoulder down to your low back. From here, you're going to draw your hands up towards your ribs. So we're right here on your rib cage. I don't want to come up like this. I want to pull back to my rib cage, really pulling those shoulders back. The more I'm hinged forward, the more I'm able to really let those lats stretch and contract. So you're really going to want to try and lean all the way forward towards the front. If you need to, put your hips against the wall for some extra support, especially if you have any sort of low back pain. That can help give that extra support to your low back. So those are our first two exercises we're doing. We're doing what's called a superset, which means we're doing a pair of exercises together to make it so we can get through a workout more efficiently. So I'm going to move to a heavier dumbbell now, and we're going to go back to our pressing exercise. So, laying on your back, hands right over the top of your shoulders, and from here, bending your elbows in. So bending your elbows in, bringing it down to your throat, and then back out towards the front. You should feel that in the back of your arms and the front of your chest. I'm trying to go as low as I can, almost touching the dumbbells to the ground. I've heard this called a guillotine press. I think that name sounds pretty intimidating, but if you think about it, it's sort of right at that throat level. So make sure that your dumbbells are wide enough where you're not going to accidentally bump yourself in the throat. And trying for 10 reps. So that is a pressing exercise you can do with no bench. All you need is a set of dumbbells. So it's easy because you don't need a whole lot of equipment to be able to do it. All right, and now going to our bent over row. Again, I'm using a heavier weight this time because now we're going into our full-on exercise. So hinging from the hips, laying the dumbbells hang down, pulling up to my rib cage, pulling up, trying for about 10 reps of this. So you want to go heavy enough with the dumbbell where you feel tension in the muscle, and it should be difficult to do 10. Not impossible, but challenging. Eight, 9, and 10. And relax. I'm going to set this down for just a second. So anytime we're doing an exercise, we want to tire out the muscle. We want to fatigue it. So we want that to feel that burn or that tension feeling in the muscle. If you're not feeling that, you want to go to a heavier weight because the whole thing is muscles grow when you challenge them. Now, something I messed up on is I used to go so hard with my sets. I go to what's called muscle failure, or as close to that as I could, every single time, where I'd try just lift until I couldn't lift anymore. And that caused so much soreness, so much fatigue. It actually slowed down my growth because I would either miss workouts because I was still so sore I couldn't even move properly, or I'd get injured, and that would set me back even further. So what I found works much better for me, and what the studies now show as well, is that if you go not 100%, but if you go that 90%, effort where you're approaching failure, but say you're 1 or 2 reps in reserve where you could do another rep or 2 if you really, really pushed yourself, that's the more efficient way of working out, where you have less soreness, but still a great muscle building effect. So that's why I try and actually go a little bit less intense, but more consistent in my workouts. And that's what's caused me to actually be able to progress further faster. I wish I had known that younger though. But the best time to start working and improving is right now for all of us. No matter how old you are, whether you're 18 or 80, you can always, now is always going to be easier than later. So going back to our guillotine press, I'm going to do one more set of these. So elbows tucked in, bending the elbows down to right by your neck and back up. Doing that pressing movement. You should feel this in the back of your arms. I'm trying to not let my elbows drift down towards my waist. Trying to really push out my chest. Two more. And 10. There's nothing especially notable about 10 reps specifically, but I find for me, if I always do about 10 reps and then vary the weight to always be challenging, it's an easy way of reminding myself, just keeping it consistently at 10 reps, give or take. If I'm constantly changing the number of reps, I find it's hard to keep track of what each exercise is supposed to be. And just my own brain, I don't remember numbers incredibly well, especially when I'm tired working out. It's easier to just keep it uniform and go to where, pick up a weight that's heavy enough where I feel challenged. So I can always adjust the weight to make that exercise challenging. If you only have one dumbbell weight though, you can do the same thing with reps if that works well for you. That way you don't have to remember the weights of them. You just have to remember for each exercise how many times you lifted that one dumbbell you had. So, whether you're varying the weights or varying the reps, both lead to the same goal. They both get you there. So don't worry if you only have one piece of equipment, that's totally fine. So we're gonna go into our bent over row. I'll show you this way. So I'm really hinging from the hips, pulling up to my rib cage, and then back down. 5. Now when I go down, I'm not using my muscle like a rubber band, so there's no momentum. I'm letting it fully hang and then coming back up. 9 and 10. So that way we're not cheating ourselves out of the most important part of the rep. For a row, it's not the moving up that's the most important, it's that full extension down, really, or full movement down, because that's where I'm really stretching those muscle fibers, putting a ton of tension into that shoulder and back. And so if I'm going like this and start bouncing out of the bottom, I'm cheating myself out of those reps. So if you want to get the most out of that exercise, take it slow, a nice steady pace through instead of being a jerky movement. And that will be not only a lower risk of injury, but probably the most effective way you can do the lift. All right. So we just did a lot of compound movements for the upper body. We have 2 more left to do, and then we'll do some lower body exercises. So I'm gonna drop the weight down a little bit. And we're going to do an overhead press. So I'm gonna bring my hands up to my shoulders. So this is our starting position. The dumbbells are right in the front of my shoulders. So right here. This is great for your upper body shoulders. So the traps, the deltoids, and also the tricep back in here. So from here, make sure you've got nothing up on the ceiling above you like a fan or a light. It's never fun. I've done that before where I've hit into a light. Just trust me on that one. Don't want that to happen. From here, you're gonna push up towards the ceiling. Now, I wanna keep my hands right over the top of my shoulders. I don't want them to come in. I especially don't want those dumbbells to hit together because that can actually damage the dumbbells. And if they're damaged enough, it could break over the top of your head. We don't want that to happen. So don't click them together. Keep them right over the top of your shoulders as you push up. Trying to go for, again, about 10 reps. 9 and 10. And relax. Whew. So we just worked the muscles here and the back of the arm. Now we're going to work the muscles in the front of the shoulder and arm, working that bicep muscle, and some of the brachialis and brachioradialis play a little bit of a role in this too. So it works these muscles on the front of the arm. So we're going to do a wall curl. Now, I've really come to appreciate these because they really isolate that bicep, especially because having your back against the wall makes it so you can't subconsciously cheat using momentum or using your body to swing. So having your head and hips against the wall, you're going to bring the dumbbells forward to the front of your thigh, keeping that back straight against the wall. So this is our starting position. I'll show you like this. So see, my hands are actually a little bit forward in front of my legs. This is putting all that tension into that bicep. From here, I'm gonna curl up to the front of my shoulders and then back down. And going up and down 10 times. This is working that front of your upper arm. Now, ladies, if you want toned arms, it's actually toned means just the muscle is well defined. So the way you do that is by working those muscles, pulling those nutrients into those muscle fibers to make them look healthy and strong. So this is a great way if you want to have toned arms. It's no different than if you want to have big arms. It's just big arms, you're just doing it for longer. Same exercises though. If you want this to look firm and tight, great way of doing that is by increasing that muscle mass in your arms. Because as you're getting fit, you're converting fat into muscle as you're burning calories, but then making your muscle more insulin sensitive. Now, insulin is what pulls that food and nutrients into different cells. And as we work the muscle gets more insulin sensitive. So that's more calories going to your muscle and less going into your fat and your organs. So, great way of telling your body where you want to send that food is by working those muscles. So, it's good on a lot of different ways for your body. Whew. Have you ever wished you could tell your body to stop sending food and calories to your stomach, start sending it to other parts of your body? That's the way you do that. There's no such thing as spot training where I don't lose fat from one spot. So even if I'm working my arms, I'm gonna be losing fat from other parts of my body. But you can, by working a muscle, you're burning away the sugars that are stored in the muscle, and those have to be replaced from other things in your body. So it gets pulled away from the total amount of sugar that you have in your body. And that can lead to more sugar being stored in your muscle and less in your fat. 8, 9, should feel that burning in the top of your arms, and 10, and relax. Whew. So if you're liking the workout so far and want to see more, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hit that subscribe button to be here live to talk about what you're doing in your workout. I'm here to encourage you, to help you, and support you in any way I can. So, love to see you there live at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Oh no, have I not been live this whole time? Welp. Hello. Okay, so it looks like we're live now. Apparently something messed up technically, so today we're doing an upper body and lower body exercise with dumbbells only. So we're about halfway through. And I'll show you guys what we've done up to this point though. And I'm really excited to show you about a press exercise I thought about over the weekend because it only uses a set of dumbbells while still working that tricep and chest in a way where you don't need a bench, you only need a set of dumbbells. So if that sounds good to you, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this. So I know some people out there in our group don't have a bench, but they do have dumbbells and they do want a resistance train. And so I want to help equip you guys with the tools you need to be able to do that. Right now we're going to finish with a set of wall curls for upper body, and then I'll show you that in just a second, how to do that press exercise. So I'm going to bring my head and hips back flat against the wall. From here, I'm going to pull up to the front, keeping my head and back flat against the wall. That stops any sort of swinging movement, so I'm not able to cheat any momentum or swing into this curl. So I'm putting all that pressure into my bicep. 8, 2 more, 9, and 10. Now personally, I like to go for about 10 reps because just honestly, I have trouble remembering which exercise I do how many reps on. It just gets a little confusing for me. So just keeping it 10 across the board and just picking a heavy enough dumbbell where I feel challenged on each exercise. So that's what works well for me. If you only have one dumbbell though, where you can't vary the weight, you can also vary the number of reps and go until you feel challenged by the number of reps. And that will get you to that same point. So you'll build muscle either way. And as far as we can tell, all the studies show that that's equally effective, or the studies as a whole, as an analysis, show that that's equally effective. So, for those who missed it, because I hadn't gotten live yet, we're going to do a guillotine press. This is a press you can do with just dumbbells and no bench. Sounds really intimidating, but trust me, it's not nearly that bad. I don't know who named it, but what you're gonna do, start with just like a bench press with your hands right over the top of your shoulders. From here, instead of bending my arms out to the sides like a bench press, I'm gonna keep those elbows tucked in. So I'm bending from the elbow. So I'm bending from the elbow down towards my neck level. Now, I want to have the dumbbells wide enough where I'm never going to hit myself in the neck, but going all the way down to that neck level, really pushing out my chest, pushing back up to the front. Now this is that guillotine press where I'm still working that tricep and chest, but I'm not limited by the floor nearly as much. So I can still work those muscles. Should feel that really burning in the tricep back here and some in the chest in here. And it's a great option if you have no bench but still want to do a press exercise. It still will get you that pressing movement, all those pushing muscles with no bench required. So if that sounds good to you, if you try it and like it, hit that like button for me, or better yet, subscribe to be here live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We can talk about how it worked or how you felt doing it and talk about your progress. Or just if you want to just come hang out and just let me know that you tried and liked it. So we're going to jump into our lower body exercise, going into a body weight squat. Hey, Lars, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Always nice to see you. So for a body weight squat, you can add dumbbells to this. Personally, I'm staying because I banged up my knee still and it's still healing for the next week. I'm going to try without dumbbells and just adding reps to this. If you would like to, you can always hold the dumbbell in front of your chest and do a squat that way. So going down, bending knees and standing back up. However, for me, I'm just going to go higher reps and do it without the dumbbell for now till my knee feels 100%. So holding your hands right in front of your chest, feet about shoulder width apart. You're going to bend your knees, keeping your chest up, coming back up. You should feel this right here in the front of your thigh. So I'm going to try for about 10 reps or more because I have to increase the reps instead of the weight. So I'm just going to keep on going until I feel that burning in my quads, which are in the front of my thighs right here. Now, if I was doing this with dumbbells, I'd probably shoot for about 10 reps and pick a heavy enough dumbbell where my legs were burning by the end of it. So I'm using my hands for balance, keeping that center of mass right over the top of my feet. So I'm not falling backwards by pushing my hips back. I'm keeping my chest up. Two more, 13, or all right, hands stopping there. I can feel that burning in the front of my thigh. So that works these muscles right here in the front. Now we're gonna work the muscles in the back and those glutes and hamstrings back here. So for that, we're gonna do a RDL. I am gonna add some dumbbells to this one, gradually ease into this exercise. So you're going to start with your hands right in front of your hips, and your back straight. So I want to keep my back straight through this whole movement. From here, I'm going to push my hips backwards. So I'm not leaning forward, I'm driving my hips back. You could even do this in front of a wall or post. Take a small step forward. And now what I want you to do is push your hips back, trying to hit your hips into that post. So I'm engaging all these muscles in the back of my thigh. It's a great way of stretching your hamstrings and strengthening them at the same time. So I'm just letting my dumbbells hang, pushing my hips back and then back up. Might feel that tension in your hamstrings all the way from the back of your hips to the back of your knee. Show you from the front. So I'm just hinging from those hips. I'm using the big hinge of my hip, not the small joints of my back. So it's a great way of teaching your body how to lift effectively with your legs, not your back. And relax. All right, so I'll probably need to re-upload the first half of this. We did several different upper body exercises, but for some reason it didn't go live. So I'll show you those real quick before we do one more set of legs. So we did a superset, which is a pair of exercises. First thing is the guillotine press. Bring your hands to your throat, pushing back up towards the front. This works your tricep and chest. From here, we're going to do the complementary muscles to that, doing a bent over row with thumbs pointed towards the front. So you're going to hinge from your hips, keeping your back straight. From here, you're going to pull up to your rib cage. Now I want my hands here at my ribs, not up here at my shoulders, to really engage those lats. So I'm pulling up to my ribs and then back out straight, keeping my back straight the whole time. So that's our second exercise of the first pair. Then we're going to an overhead press. From here, hands about shoulder width, dumbbells to the front of the shoulders. Gonna push up towards the ceiling, keeping those dumbbells right over the top of your shoulders, and back down. Trying for about 10 reps on each of these. From here, going into a wall curl, back flat against the wall, head and hips, all the way pressed against that wall. Bring your arms up to the front, or hands up to the front of your shoulders, and then back out straight. So I'll show you from the side, head and hips, pulling up towards the front, and then back out straight. And now work the muscles in your upper body. Now we're going in for the lower body exercises. So, going to a body weight squat, hands in front for balance, and feet about shoulder width apart. From here, you're gonna bend your knees, going down, keeping your chest up though, and back up, going all the way as low as you can, while still keeping your chest up. Now, if you want to, you can hold on to a dumbbell or a set of dumbbells right in front as well. For me, I'm starting with just body weight, getting my knee used to working through that tension again after an injury I had where I slammed my knee into the concrete. I tripped on a rug and hit my knee on cement in the garage. So, fortunately nothing was broken. It just irritated my knee because it swelled up and bruised pretty bad. So, I'm gradually readjusting to it, and pretty soon I'll be back up to normal. And relax. So our last exercise is an RDL, or the other name I like to call this is a two-legged golf pickup, because it's like you're reaching down to pick up a golf ball. So feet about shoulder width apart and back straight. I want my hands right in front of my thigh. From here, I'm going to push my hips to the back, hinging at my hips. So I'm putting all of that pressure into my legs, the back of my thigh and back of my hips. Nothing goes into my low back during this. I'm really trying to push my hips out to the back, tension those muscles in my hamstrings. So this is stretching those hamstrings as well as strengthening them in this position. So a lot of people have weak hamstrings and don't even realize it. They think they just have tight hamstrings, but they're not only tight, they're also weak. So this is a great way of starting to strengthen and stretch your hamstrings at the same time. And especially with how often those hamstrings cause injuries for people, because they go to use them, like playing a game of softball or soccer or something, or pick up football. Heard so many people straining their hamstring. I knew a firefighter who started playing football for the first time in 15 years or so, and first time going out for a pass, pulled his hamstring because he hadn't kept it strong and healthy. I mean, he's a firefighter, he's in pretty good shape otherwise, but just that hamstring was so tight. And I lost count of reps. I'm actually just going until I feel tired in that muscle. I'm not doing a very heavy dumbbell yet, because I'm easing back into that movement. So it's okay to start with a very light dumbbell and get used to the movement before you go heavy on that. So if you like these live streams and want to see more, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hope to see you there.